Hey everybody and welcome back to Blender. In this video we're going to look at materials and how to apply them to our objects. So as you can see, I've taken our wine bottle and I've added a couple more objects. I've added a cork and I've also added a mat to place it on. And then over in our scene tab I've actually renamed the object bottle. I've added the bottle cork and named that, and I've called this the cork mat because I think I'm going to make this out of cork as well. It seems to be a fairly kind of standard thing to create a wine bottle placemat out of. So what we've got here is our scene, and before we do anything else I think we're going to need to change our render settings. So we're going to come across here to our render engine, and currently we're in Eevee, but because we're going to need ray tracing for our wine bottle, we're actually going to change this to cycles, and we can change our device to GPU compute because I have a GPU that will do the job. And then you've got other things there, but we're just going to stick with supported there, like so. So now that we've got our render engine sorted out, what we actually want to do is select one of our objects. So I'm going to start off by selecting the bottle, like so. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to click on the material properties tab. And as you can see at the moment, there is absolutely nothing in there. So what we can do is we can actually hit new, and we've actually now created a material for our object. And we've got a whole bunch of properties here that we can play with. If we actually come up into our viewport shading, we can see our object there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change our base color, and I'm going to make it a green, like so. And as you can see, the bottle color has now changed to green. And now what we've got here is we've got specular, so we can actually adjust how shiny our object is. We can turn down the roughness because glass is not a very rough material. As you can see, our object is now getting shinier. What we can also do is we can actually change the transmission. We can increase that up like this, and you can actually see that our wine bottle is now starting to look an awful lot more like a wine bottle. And you can adjust all of these properties nicely. Again, roughness is up, so we want to drop that down. As you can see, now the bottle is becoming more shiny, becoming a lot more like a glass bottle, and that's awesome. We can use our mouse button and we can actually scroll around, and as you can see, it's now reflecting the surfaces around it, and it's a nice dark green color, much like an actual wine bottle. Now this is a really simple kind of interface to use. You can adjust all of these properties yourself. The issue that you're going to have is that it's very difficult to see through this object because of the screen mode that we are in. Now that we're set up with our wine bottle, and we can just double check that that's good, you can see there's a little bit of transparency happening there, but because of the thickness of the glass, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see all the way through it, but that's absolutely fine. What we need to do now is we're going to go into our material preview mode, and what you can see is you can now see that the glass is actually reflecting our image-based lighting source, and we don't want that getting in the way, so what we can actually do is just turn that off. And now we can see our two cork objects, which is going to allow us to play with these without worrying too much about the GPU having to calculate any reflections for the bottle. So what we want to do is I'm going to keep this object selected, and I'm going to add a new shader to this object as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename the material, and I'm going to call it cork, like so, which is cool. And then I'm going to change the base color. I'm going to give it cork. It's kind of yellowy, whitey kind of color, isn't it? It's not overly dark, anything like that. So we can just, that looks like a fairly corkish material. If we wanted to, we could make it metallic. Cork obviously isn't metallic. It's also very much not specular, and it has a lot of roughness to it, cork. So we can bring that up like that. And then if we wanted to, we can have a quick look at that there. And obviously this object has got hard edges, so if it were to be cork, it would have a very large amount of cutting done on it to get there. But I'm fairly happy with the overall look of that object for now. And what we can do is now we can, if we want to, we can just deselect this object. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select our small cork, and then I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to select our pre-materialed cork. And what I'm going to do is on this little tab down here, if you look, there's this little caret just here. We're going to click on that, and then we can just say copy material to selected, and boom, that material has now been applied to both our corks, and that's pretty much all we have to do at this stage of development. Now we can turn back on our wine bottle and deselect everything, and already our scene is already starting to look a little bit more realistic. Thanks very much for watching this video, chaps. I hope you found that entertaining and informative. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Of course, I will try and read all the comments as I do. If you think I deserve it, hit a subscribe, like. Patreon is in the description below. Either way, I will see you in the next one, guys. But until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.